Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Teach, Sleep, Repeat. My name is Dylan.
And my name is Hayden.
And we are the Men in Black.
We really are the Men in Black. We did not.
Is that brand new top?
Brand new top.
Yeah, so when I walked in the black top this morning, did your heart sink a bit?
No, I didn't notice. Because obviously I don't notice these things until we sit in front of a camera and go, oh look, we're wearing the same thing.
Well, a vast majority of people don't watch this podcast,
No.
So that first
Silly
minute
customers.
was a complete waste of your time. How you doing, Hayden?
I'm all right. Remember we first went on video,
Right.
And we kept making jokes about it, and we were saying, oh, you're so weird for watching us, and now it's just normal.
Yeah, it's quite normal to have stalkers, I think, who watch you every week.
That's what you are, isn't it, really?
Yeah, who does watch on it? Give us a message, because apparently it's a lot of you. Apparently, on the stats.
Apparently.
Like, because it was on Spotify.
Apparently, I didn't have anyone watching me on this week's podcast.
How's your week been, Hayden?
Yeah,
We've been back at school, haven't we?
Back at school after our lovely trip to Centre Parks, which we spoke about last week.
What was
Check out
more
our
tiring,
episode.
the holiday or the week at work?
Actually, you being around you more often was very tiring.
Why was that? Let's dive into this.
In all seriousness, the holiday. I was so knackered that weekend when we got back. Couldn't believe it. Yeah. But it was good. It was worth it.
It's always good when you finish a holiday much more tired than when you went on it.
I said to my mum, and she was like, she's like, that is just what it's like with kids. She's like, it's a sign of a good holiday. If you come back knackered, it's because you were doing everything you could to try and make it nice for them.
And it is lovely because they'll never ever remember it, and it might as well have not happened for them.
No, but we got some pictures of it. We got a picture of them in the bath. We can embarrass them with when they're older. It's fine.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. I've had a quick look at the notes. And I've just seen something that says apple pie story.
Apple pie story.
That's vague enough for me to be really interested.
I'm looking forward to telling you this story. So yesterday, I went to so just for context, we have a tutoring business, and I went to one of our tutors' houses who's going to be taking over a bit of workload.
And is going to run the business with me.
He's going to run, taking over you. No, he's taking over. We run mock tests through the year, and it was just a little event, and he's going to take over that role of like managing them, right? So I said, I'll come around, we'll run through it all, get you set up. And because it was quite late, I said, do you want me to bring some dinner? We'll just get a takeaway or something. So we decided on a McDonald's, a cheeky McDonald's, and that was great. At the time, he was with another colleague who is both his friend and also a tutor for us, who said, oh, I want an apple pie. And I thought they were joking because I was on my way to McDonald's. I thought they were just maybe. And she doesn't even live with him. Do you know what I mean? I thought, no, that's not happening. And then they text me as I was at McDonald's, are you actually getting that apple pie? And I thought it was a joke, but okay, I'll get the apple pie. That's fine. I'll drop it to her house. Whatever. There you go. Text her saying, you're lucky. You better enjoy this apple pie.
Was that the exact language you used?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was really nice in my language. I didn't use any expletives when I spoke to her.
Definitely not.
I said, you better enjoy this apple pie, you lovely woman, is what I said to her. And then I was driving away from McDonald's, and I just had a feeling, my McDonald's senses were tingling.
I don't want to do anything for her. That's what you thought. I just had this feeling inside.
Yeah. Oh, is Dylan going to hate me when I replace him? But she gave me the bag of McDonald's, and I thought, I just feel like it should have felt more heavy.
Sorry. How often do you go to McDonald's that you can lift up the bag and go, I'm missing something?
I knew.
One of my 5 items is missing. This is not weighty.
Bloody right, though, wasn't it? I was bloody right. So I was driving at McDonald's, and I thought, no, I'm going to stop and check, because it'll be annoying if I go there and there's something missing. There's always something missing.
The McDonald's whisperer.
Pulled over. Yeah, on the McDonald's. I looked in. I closed my eyes, obviously. I did it all from smell. Something's missing in here. I can't smell the apple pie.
I'm getting chicky nugget. I'm getting double cheeseburger, no gherkin.
So I looked in, and actually what I realised was I had the complete wrong order. I didn't even have our order at all. I was like, we didn't order any of this stuff. So I was like, oh, bloody hell. Took it back into McDonald's. At that point, I picked up the drinks that she gave me first and realised they weren't even the drinks I ordered. Probably should have noticed at that point when she gave me 2 drinks that weren't the drinks. Anyway, went in, and I went to the counter and said, oh, sorry, but this is not my order. I've got someone else's order. And there was a lady stood next to me, and she was like, oh, is that the old chicken selects meal and 2 Cokes? Oh, yeah, this is yours. She's like, yeah, I drove past the window. I didn't realise where to stop. And then you were the car behind me.
Sorry, let's go through her thought process.
No, I know.
Go through the drive-thru. I'll order my food. I'll pay for my food. And then I'll go home.
Go to the next window, please. Okay. Just went out. And she just left McDonald's.
I wonder what she thought when she held her bag. That didn't exist. That was a bit light.
I know. I did think, what do you mean you missed the window where you get your food and you order? I don't know.
Go shopping at Tesco, put your whole cart through, and just going, good day.
Yeah,
after you've paid, not packing it up.
So I thought, okay, well, it wasn't McDonald's fault really that she just did it wrong. So I stood there, waited, explained the situation. They're very apologetic, and then they found my meal because the next person obviously was like, "This isn't my meal." At the window, a sensible person that actually realizes when the drinks are wrong. And so they put it to the side, found my meal, and said, "Really sorry, here's your meal, all good." I was like, "No worries, all fine." And I thought, I'm not going to check it again.
No, of course
I'm not going
not.
to check it. They've
Why
obviously
would you?
checked it now because I've told them to go. I've told them exactly what my order was.
Of course.
And so I drive to I'm going to name her Tash's house.
She listens.
And she listens, fine. Drove to Tash's house, and she was extremely excited about this apple pie for some reason.
She came bounding over.
She came bounding out of her door like, "Oh, my apple pie!" Something like that.
It's the sound of music.
She can confirm that's how she came out the door.
I can actually really imagine her doing exactly that.
It's specifically Tash, it's
really
very her, isn't it?
Flamboyant, if anything.
Extremely flamboyant, yeah. Running out of her door, big smile on her face, and she was like, "I didn't actually expect you to do this. This is the biggest treat. You're probably the nicest person I know. You're my favourite human being." Didn't say any of that.
No.
But she came to the window.
Her eyes said it.
Yeah, her eyes said it. Exactly. Her body language, eyes, the fact that she had no shoes on, she was so excited. And I said, "Right, go on then. It's in one of these 2 bags."
Sorry, you noticed that she had no shoes on, and you noticed about the McDonald's. You're some kind of you got spidey senses going
I've got
on.
eyes or something, yeah. And so I said, "It's in one of these bags. Open them up." So I opened one bag. She opened one bag. She's excited, looking through. Oh, it's not that one. Looking through my bag. I was like, "Oh, it's not in here either." And the apple pie wasn't there, and she was gutted. But held it and is now holding it personally against me.
Of course.
So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
She was like, "You owe me.
Yeah.
You owe me an apple pie now."
I think each day that goes past, the apple pie increases by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm on 2 apple pies now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel about that. Is that my fault?
I would say absolutely, because it's you. If it was anyone else, obviously it would be there. But because it is you who's gone through this whole thing, and gone through the whole ordeal of holding a bag from McDonald's and going, no. That is not my order. But then for some reason, I won't check again.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I should have just checked it. I thought, no, they can't get it wrong.
The main thing that's come out of this story for me is I really want to line up 5 bags of McDonald's food, right? Completely random.
I'll tell
Get
you
you to hold them and tell me what's in them.
I will.
And see what your success
I
rate
will.
is.
I will. 3, actually, a medium fries and 2 large fries in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I think we've done this before, but I'm going to ask you right now because it is vital information.
Okay.
What's your go-to order at McDonald's? You're hungry, driving home from work, you're not going to eat that evening, it's late. Go through McDonald's, right? I'm going to fill my boots here. What do you get?
So if I can't be bothered to be adventurous, Big Mac meal. No cheese, obviously.
Okay, I wish I didn't ask, honestly. No cheese, yeah, no cheese. Big Mac meal, no cheese. Drink?
Oasis.
Anything else?
And a hamburger.
That's what I knew was coming. That's what I knew was coming.
You can eat that in 3 bites.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I was looking at the McDonald's menu yesterday and they had this triple thing.
Yeah, 3 for £3.
Yeah, no, it was like a burger with 3 burgers in it.
The hat trick burger.
Hat trick burger.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, oh, that could be quite nice. And then I realised that cheese was the main element, and if I took out the cheese, it would literally just be 3 burgers on top of each
3
other.
slabs of mince in a bread bun.
3 slabs of rancid mince. But, I thought probably not the best idea.
For anyone who doesn't know, completely insane. Hayden doesn't like cheese. No, he's not intolerant. He's not vegan.
I am intolerant.
He's not any. He just doesn't actually like cheese.
It's disgusting.
I still can't get my head
It
around
is disgusting. It is the most disgusting food on this planet. It's
That's
absolutely revolting, rancid
Interesting.
food.
That'll be the poll then on this if
Yeah.
you're on Spotify right now. Is cheese nice?
There is a whole cult of us. We all know each other.
Is it?
Yeah,
all 3
sometimes,
of you. All 3 of you in the country.
Us. When I walk around,
you,
I
Rishi,
know.
and who's the other one?
I don't know.
You all know each other. Don't know the third man now.
Oh no, I'm just testing you. Yeah, we walk down the street and I'm like, oh, all right, we nod. We know, obviously. We know each other.
Is it because I don't even know what I'm going to say.
It's the lack of calcium in our body and the milk we don't drink.
Oh, there's another horribly pale person.
Oh, cheese.
I mean, I'm really pale, so I like cheese.
Anyway. I hate having my photo taken.
Do you?
Cheese. Oh. Always freaks me out.
Like when the scene goes black and white, your flashbacks in your head. Cheese. You goes back to your childhood of being forced. Hayden, just eat it. Yeah. Eat your dinner, Hayden.
I do have one of them.
What?
A memory of where I think of without cheese because I was forced to eat lasagna at school. Genuinely.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely forced to eat lasagna. I was in maybe year 3.
Oh my God.
And I had I don't normally have school dinners, but for some reason I had school dinners that day.
Yeah.
And it was lasagna, and it was cheesy lasagna.
Oh my God.
And they would not, obviously I didn't want to eat it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be horrible. I literally just said to them, I really, really, really don't like cheese. I just don't want to eat this. And they were like, well, you're not going to have to break till you eat it. And I sat there the whole hour. They wouldn't leave. They would not let me go until I ate the lasagna. I probably had one mouthful of it in the end.
Do you want to come around for dinner time?
No, because I know what you'll do.
What?
You'll throw cheese at me.
Got lasagna.
Got lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah.
What do you think about that in general then in school? No, because wait, let me just check. Oh yeah, this is a teacher podcast. Let's talk something to do school.
School.
Oh yeah. So what do you think about kids who just refuse to eat at lunchtime? Like, where's the line? Because they need to eat something.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I'm probably more liberal than ever because of that experience. I'd be like, any kid that says no, but okay, bye. Because I'm like, I don't want to repeat what I felt.
Okay, role play. Hey, Mr. Stevens, my son.
Just go.
No, my son. Sorry, it's the end of the day. I just want to catch you quickly. My son, he's not been eating his lunches for weeks.
I know.
You know about this already?
Yes, I do. I know very well.
Okay, so you've been trying to encourage him to eat all of his dinner.
I've been encouraging him to leave his dinner if he doesn't like it.
No, but Mr. Stevens, listen, he comes home starving every day.
Yes.
And I know he does actually like it. He does because he eats it at home. So can you just please make sure he eats it at school?
I won't do it.
What? That's part of your job, Mr. Stevens.
It's not part of my job. We've had a whole discussion about this on our podcast. You should listen to it. Decently repeat while I was on Instagram.
I don't know. I would hate to punish children for not liking food. I find that insane.
But like you said, sometimes we've all been there as a kid where you're just being stubborn and actually you wanted something else, you didn't get it, so now I'm not eating this.
Yeah.
So there is a line where it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like everything when we talk about it on this podcast. There's a line somewhere on either side of the line.
The problem is probably funding of some sort. Somehow funding's fault. It's the Tories, I think. It's the Tories.
And that's why you listen to this podcast, guys, for that incredible insight into all the problems that we have in teaching.
So, apple pie story, good stuff. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I've been thinking about the fact that...
your notes are...
When this...
I was about to swear then. Your notes are terrible. That's not fun. Mine says apple pie story. Where's the fun in that?
All right, let me explain it.
Go on, then.
Right. This Sunday, which is after we record this podcast...
Carry on.
It's after we record this podcast, but before it's been released, so it's happened already. So I had a great Father's Day. Did you?
Ah, yes. I also yesterday had a great Father's Day.
I think yesterday was fantastic, and I would think that all of the surprises were very surprising to me.
All of the fathers were laughing like this. What a great day.
But the only thing I was going to say about Father's Day is we've got a barbecue at my parents' house that we're going to go to with everyone. That's cool in the afternoon. But then Lauren said to me yesterday, "What are you doing in the morning on Father's Day?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing actually. I'm not doing anything.
I'm free."
And she went, "Oh, okay, all right then." So I spent the rest of the day thinking, "Oh, I got something going on in the morning." Right? Yeah. It's like, I'm not gonna pry, but that sounds quite nice. And then later on, we were organising an interview we have with like something to do with our business, and the person could do Sunday morning, and I was like, no. Don't think I can do Sunday morning because I've been asked about it. I've got to keep that clear. I'll just check when because we can work around it. So I went, "Oh, by the way, Laura, what is going on Sunday morning?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "But sorry. Oh, earlier you asked me what I'm doing."
You're crying at this point, I presume.
Yes, tears rolling down.
It's just a lot. Don't worry about it.
I said, earlier you just asked me what's going on Sunday morning, so I just thought, and she was like, "Oh no, I just wondered what you were doing."
Yeah.
So I said to you nothing, and you went, "That's okay." I went, "Yeah." I could do the interview. So Sunday morning we're having a nice little chat with someone.
Yeah,
one of our
people.
It's not even an interview, really, is it?
It's just a meeting.
Talk about something. But yeah, that was fun. I honestly thought, like, that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's lovely. That's something in the morning for my first Father's Day.
Yeah.
I'll be doing nothing.
Did you do anything for Mother's Day, though? For Lauren's first Mother's Day?
I don't remember.
So that's a no.
I think we did. I think I got painted Rory's feet and put his feet somewhere.
Yeah.
On a card or something.
Fair enough.
The wall.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Chuck some paint there or something. Like that. That's nice, isn't it? It's nice.
That's my notes. Father's Day.
It's not.
Oh yeah, I've got another thing that I naturally just thought of without looking at my hands.
Oh, please tell me about how insane the amount of work is.
How did you know?
I don't know. I just read your mind. It's got like a McDonald's sense.
Well, last week before we started back at work, I was talking. You picked me up and went, "That's not all he's got to talk about." It feels a bit lighter than normal.
He's missing some fries. There's no apple pie in there, son.
What insane. The only thing I was going to say was last week we said, isn't term 6 lovely? Isn't term 6 great? The weather's so good. It's my favourite terms. Then I had a week back and I remembered how insane it is. I just thought straight away, I was like, oh, there's 4 things that I need to do in the next 2 weeks and they're all massive jobs. And I've got to continue actually doing my full teaching schedule, which is in itself a full-time job. And I've got to plan it and I've got to mark it. But by the way, you've still got staff meetings. And also, can you please write on all your reports? And not only write all your reports, can you then proofread all the reports from someone else, please, in the same amount of time? By the way, there's a twilight as well. We've got some training.
Yeah, nice.
Oh.
It's weird that you only found about found out about writing reports last week.
Well, Hayden, how do you expect me to proofread reports before the deadline when people haven't finished their reports?
I think I said writing, not proofreading.
Well, writing's my own fault, and I'll be doing that this weekend. I've got a hilarious story.
I got told in week 1 I've got to write my reports.
For writing, this is where my mind place was when I was doing my reports, right?
Okay.
Clearly, because I was still... So in year 3, right, in RE in year 3, we did Sikhism. And I remember I absolutely loved that whole unit. I remember thinking to myself, because I'm not a very religious person, but I remember thinking after doing Sikhism, this religion, I can get part of this religion. I really liked the whole idea of service and the community and helping people and stuff like that.
Cool.
So whenever I think of RE now, because we obviously we're in a church school, we do a lot of Christianity. Whenever I think of RE, I think of we do some Christianity, then we do a bit of Sikhism. That's lovely. Yeah. So in year 4 now, I'm in year 4, we do Hinduism, which is another big religion. And I remember we were teaching about Hinduism and the beliefs of karma and reincarnation.
Do you remember it?
Okay. Karma, reincarnation, all them ideas. And I was like, this is cool. Isn't RE good? RE's really cool. You get to know all these cultures you have nothing to know about otherwise. And we talked about how Rishi Sunak's a Hindu.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a Hindu. The first practicing Hindu to become Prime Minister. And we had all this really cool chat about Hinduism. So I was writing my reports away. I've done all my RE reports. I've done all my maths reports. I've just got a few bits and bobs to do now to finish off because I share them with Amy, obviously, my job share. And she just messaged me yesterday going, have you done your RE reports? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh yeah, I thought you had. Because, we did Hinduism this year, not Sikhism. I'd written Sikhism in every single report. And I said, it really does grasp the understanding of the Sikh religion and the culture and the ideas of reincarnation and the ideas of karma. So I got all the individual parts of Hinduism correct. I just called it Sikhism.
Oh, okay. At least you did that.
Yeah. So I just literally labelled it Sikhism because I was like, Sikhism, what a lovely religion.
I much prefer the idea of you making up 32 statements for all your kids about how much they love Sikhism, completely exposing that none of it's real because they didn't even do it.
The 5Ks, they know all about the 5Ks and how they wear their silver bracelets and all that. Yeah, all that. They carry a sword. I don't think that's Hinduism actually. So I got it right, but I'd written Sikhism in every single one. Thank you, because I'll go and change that right now. Before the parents read it, go, oh, so what do you know about Sikhism? It says here that you understand the culture of it. So what can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
Huh? So yeah, that was my story about reports.
Love that. Very good. Very you.
Have you got anything else to say?
Well, I was just going to reflect on. It's a less funny thing, a fewer funny thing. I can't say the word less now without having you in my mind.
I think you'll find the word is lesser funny.
Lesser few funny. Yeah. But I just want to talk about our business for a minute because obviously we don't talk about it much.
Jesus Christ, these guys will look forward to that.
We don't talk about it much, Dylan, and it's a big part of our life.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about flexible working and stuff and job sharing and all that, so it's kind of linked.
Kind of related.
What do you want to talk about?
Stick around and for after this boring bit when we can talk about flexible working.
You looked at the notes as if I didn't just tell you.
I know.
So we can talk about. Was there? Wait. Just check the notes over here.
Apple pie.
I think flexible working.
Dylan's boring notes.
Flexible working. Yeah.
But basically, I just want to reflect on it for a minute because it's a scary time for us. I want to see how you feel because I feel like you find these things a little bit more like it gets you feeling some type of way when we do this stuff.
Oh, a really good description.
I can't think of the word.
10 seconds.
Spray bottle. If you don't get that, listen to episode 60. Go on. 3 something in the 60s.
Or why not just all of the previous episodes?
All of the previous episodes. Yeah. Anyway, so we're at the point now where we've grown we've gone part-time because of our little side business that was just genuinely a side hustle for many years, which was a bit of tutoring. And we've slowly grown it, and we've always had the mindset of totally risk-free.
Sure.
Really, really slow building. We'll do everything ourselves, even if it takes 10 times longer, because we don't want to maybe spend loads of money on something and then risk it.
We spent like 200 quid when we started on like resources.
Yeah.
And then we've not put a single penny of our own money into this business since then.
We actually haven't. No. So anytime we've needed something, even if we think it's a good idea, like getting a new website was a big thing for us. Rather than what a lot of businesses would do, which is they'd get that investment, they'd either take out a loan or something because they know it's going to pay dividends in the future. We were like, nah, we'll always just save up first. So if it takes us a year longer to get there, we'll do that. We've always done that. But recently, we wanted to start a couple of new services, and we've taken a new leap. And I think we should like talk about it. Because
we are, aren't we? It's been 3 minutes. So
So basically, we have built a bit of a team of resource creators to help us jumpstart these new services, which would normally take us about 2 years to create.
Well, because we just sit and create them ourselves. So we've created every resource so far just ourselves. I think apart from a couple of things that we've outsourced to people.
Yeah. But mostly me and you.
But yeah, no, it's exciting.
It's kind of scary because we're spending loads of money investing in these people and the services don't exist yet.
Yeah, but I would say it's still the business's money, and it's because the business has grown. The business has grown, and it's allowed us to invest this much money. But you know, anyone else who has a business out there, it is just a leap, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, that is our money because we've earned it.
Yeah.
And it's our profits in our company and stuff. So either we're going to invest it or we're going to take the money. And I think we've had the mindset before of take the money, live a comfortable lifestyle, reinvest when you can, save. And I think at this point we're just like, let's just do it. I wonder if there's like a bit of boredom comes into it of, our service. We teach year 5 children in Kent. We do a little bit of year 4 stuff. We're now completely overhauling year 4 to be a complete service. We're going to introduce year 6. There's going to be this whole idea of through primary school.
Yeah.
Eventually thinking about doing GCSEs and stuff like that and working into secondary school. But it's just a hint of boredom. I don't know about you. Like we've gone part-time. We've done that for a couple of years now. I feel like I'm at the cycle point of it needs something else. Like, and even if this doesn't work, then okay, well, we'll just carry on as we were then. Like we'll build the money back up anyway because of where we are. Yeah,
I agree. I think it is boredom. I mean, we're like that, aren't we? A year goes past. If we don't do something new, we tend to get a bit itchy. Itchy feet, whatever it's called.
Itchy feet is definitely the saying. And the only bad news for our listeners is we haven't got itchy feet for the podcast yet. And we keep putting a new episode out every week. I'll listen to another one.
Live it out. What are we like?
Oh, gosh.
That is annoying, isn't it?
So, yeah, are you happy you had your bit about the business?
I just wanted to reflect on it. And I was going to see how you felt about it. But I suppose it kind of links into the next chat anyway, because we're going to talk about going part-time, aren't we? And all that,
we are going to play the jingle now. We are going to talk about going part-time and flexible working and teaching and stuff. But I do have a nice little hypothetical question for you to answer after this jingle.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hayden, it's time to answer my hypothetical question. You ready?
I burped. I hope that sounded great.
That's the new jingle. Hypothetical. Okay, ready?
Oh.
I need you to take this seriously. I saw this online.
Very serious.
It cracked me up, and I really had to think about it. Okay,
I'm ready.
Because this, by the way, you have to take this seriously because this is an incredibly serious question.
Okay.
If you're listening at home, I want to know what you think. Let us know. Question: would you rather stay exactly as you are, or I thought you were going to go nah.
I was
stay
ready.
exactly as you are, or take 6 attempts at bowling a strike for £100 million, and if you don't bowl a strike, you turn into a dog.
Oh my god!
What? So, would you rather stay exactly as you are, or take 6 attempts at bowling a strike, and if you don't bowl a strike, you turn into a dog?
That is unbelievably complex for some reason. Up until you said the word dog, I was absolutely adamant that I was going to take that risk. I was like, there's nothing he could say. You can take away my whole life savings, whatever. I'll take the risk for 100 million. Turn into a dog? I'm not so sure.
And I'm not talking like I'm talking about when we say dog, you can't talk. You're not a talking dog. You are just a dog. You are you though.
Yeah.
You are you, and people around you would be like, "Oh, miss that Hayden. Like, at least he's dead. Oh, look at him. I bet he's sad."
Hypothetically, could I miss on purpose?
Really want to be a dog. Really want to be a dog.
I really want to be a dog.
Really want to be a dog.
Do I have to take the 100 mil? I think though, seriously,
you bowl a striker and you're gutted.
6
You're
attempts.
rolled a strike. God's sake!
God's sake!
100 mil.
Give me 100 mil. Oh my god, I don't. If this was dead serious, it was like.
What do you mean if? What do you mean if?
Because it's.
Hey, I'm asking you right now. I've got it set up. I've got the bowling alley set up in the other room. God. I've got the dog's body.
Imagine.
I've got the dog's body out there, ready for your soul to enter.
Is it currently alive, the dog?
Yeah, because it's going to swap.
Oh, I was going to swap.
Your body will become the other dog.
I wonder if anyone will notice I'm different.
I don't think they will. Why do you see
the old walrus dog. I think. How much was it? 100 million?
100 mil.
100 mil.
100 mil. One strike.
I'm pretty bloody good at bowling. I'll tell you that.
But you're bowling with the paws of a dog.
I'm joking. I think I would do it.
No, wait. No,
I reckon
no,
I could
no
get a
barriers.
strike.
No barriers.
No, don't need barriers. Look at me. Do I look like someone that needs barriers?
But and you'll turn into a dog and you're okay with that?
I won't turn into a dog. I'll get the strike.
No, but
That's
come
the
on.
confidence I
Are
have.
you really?
Yeah, I reckon I'd get a strike.
Have I picked like the wrong sport here? Are you a secret bowling fanatic?
Any sport, baby.
Axe throwing.
Just don't do something where I have to use my feet.
Just don't do anything where I have to bend, please, because I won't be going back up.
Oh, I don't know. I think I would. I think I'd do it.
No way. So you've got a
6.
child, and you'd
Yeah.
go, "Sorry, darling, I'm going to try and strike for 100 mil. If not, bark, bark."
No, if not, you're doing the challenge as well. You'll be a dog with me.
No, it's just you. But if not, you do get her a nice family pet.
Would you not take it?
No, absolutely not. Nah.
You're making me doubt myself.
Nah,
I'm doing it.
No,
I'm doing it, baby. Live life on the edge, baby.
Although the life of a dog is all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all right.
Short though.
Depends which dog you are.
That's part of the question, I suppose. Is
Yeah.
what kind of dog would you be?
Yeah.
And not a street dog. I wouldn't do
No,
that.
as in like what breed? Do I get to choose the breed at least?
Okay, you'd be a golden retriever in a loving family, but you can't
Aw.
talk. You can't talk though, and
Yeah.
there's one person in the family who does tug your collar a bit too much when no one's looking,
Okay,
like a bit. Like,
that's fine. Can I bite them?
no,
Not
no,
as
no, docile.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'll get a strike in 6. I'll take the 100 mil, walk away by 10,000 golden retrievers.
And implant myself into all of them like a Horcrux. All of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
someone tries to destroy me, they have to destroy themselves at the same time. That's how it works.
You are Lord Voldemort after all.
Yeah.
Okay. interesting.
Voldemort, as the kids call me, thanks to you.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. That's been a while since you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's been a while since you mentioned it. I hear it every day though, so thanks for that.
Right. Guys, let us know what your answer to that hypothetical is. And here's a quick another jingle.
No. I'm not finished with the question. I've got
sorry.
one more hypothetical. Back to you.
Okay, go on.
How many bowls?
2.
How many?
2.
How many bowling attempts would you have to be given until you take this deal? Like 6 is obviously the deal. So would you do it for 10? If you had 10 attempts, would you take it? When is it no longer a risk to
Okay, let's work backwards. If I had 100 attempts, I'd do it.
you? Yeah.
Okay?
There's no way you're not getting a strike.
No,
at
100. If I went bowling, if I had 10 games of bowling, I'd get a strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think in a single game of bowling, I'd get a strike.
Yeah.
But would I risk it becoming a dog? No.
So that's like 20-ish, isn't it? Because you normally do 2 per.
You get 2 guys for a strike, Hayden. Strike's first goal or nothing.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna get 10
if you've
attempts
got the
for a strike.
but if you haven't been getting a strike, you've got up to like 20 goes until you've run out of goes to get a strike.
No, you can't. If you bowl and don't get a strike, your next one can't be a strike. You only get 10 attempts at a strike.
Yeah.
You idiots.
Yes.
Oh, in that case, I won't be taking it.
What if the first one hits nothing? Does it count as a
No,
strike?
it's a spare.
Damn it.
I'm so good at bowling. By the way, how are the rules working, please?
I know it's not technically a strike. Okay.
Right, we are going to play the jingle now, and we're going to get into the actual.
Hang on,
chat.
before the jingle, let's play the jingle. Let's play the jingle. Oh.
A couple of years ago, we went part-time. And part-time in a school is one of 2 things usually. So obviously part-time means less time in school.
It's either part-time or full-time.
Yeah, well, part-time, Hayden, means one of 2 things. Either as a teacher, maybe in secondary school it's different, obviously, because there's different periods. You might have a really scattered timetable. But in primary school, it tends to be either you are a maths and English set teacher and you go in every morning, 5 days a week, and you do English and maths every day. Or you share an entire class with another person and one of you does 3 or 4 days, one of you does 1 or 2 days, something like that.
Yeah.
We took the job share option of we do 3 days a week.
The good one.
The lovely one. And our job share partners do 2 days a week. And between us, we're just treated as one person in the school.
Yeah.
Now, this whole episode is going to be talking about flexible working and also job shares, because that's where we have kind of our speciality, I suppose. So before we go into, the ins and outs of how, flexible working can actually work in a school and the limitations and why it's different to other jobs and the impact it might have on recruitment and retention and things like that, I wanted us just to reflect on our actual real life experience of flexible working. So we put in a flexible working request. We ended up getting our 3 days a week. What did it do to you, Hayden, that affected your enjoyment of the job and your ability to, I guess, stay in the job? What would have happened if you were denied this request?
I would have quit for a start.
Would you have quit?
I'll be honest with that. Absolutely. I probably would have longed out 1 more year again, because we're quite risk free normally, and I would have been a bit like, I would have taught myself out of it.
We were ready to quit though.
Yeah, we did we did say to ourselves, didn't we? If this was going to be denied, we will quit, because we were burning out. And that's what it did to me, I suppose, is it stopped me burning out. And I don't want to pretend like I was burning out just because of the job. It's because we were trying to run a business on top of a full-time teaching job, which we all know is kind of mad.
Which already people burn out from.
Exactly. And we're lucky at our school where it is a good school. And actually at other schools, I probably would have been long burned out by that point. Our school's pretty good anyway, but we were still burning out. So going part-time for me, I guess, saved my career a little bit in terms of it kept me as a teacher for however long. You know, I don't think I'll always be teaching. I do think there's going to be a point where we take the business full-time, probably. In the future, but it certainly kept us in a bit longer because it allowed us to take that middle step of pure safety for us, where it was like, well, we know we're going to make up the money from the business that we run, but we probably don't earn enough in the business yet to go fully like the full risk mode of quitting. So it was a nice safety net. Would you have to, because obviously we thought the 3 days a week option was superior because we needed those days at home. Would you have taken the 5 days a week doing mornings only but finishing at lunchtime option if that was the only other option, or would you have quit still?
If it was the only option, I would have taken it. However, I do
not quit.
Yeah, I think so. And I do think, however, that doing full days is superior to doing every morning. I think we talked about this a long time ago on the podcast, but I do think but mornings works for some people. For example, parents of slightly older children who maybe are in nursery all morning, it's perfect. Perfect, isn't it? Or they're going or childcare is easier for them to sort out.
Because you can be done before the end of the school day, basically.
You can see them and just do half day, whatever it takes in terms of that respect. It does work for some people, and also it does kind of mitigate a lot of the stigma around job share, which is that you're teaching maths Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that progression clearly carries on for the children, but you change teacher, and that can be a problem, and that mitigates that completely because as a set teacher, you just teach them all the time.
And I suppose there's another huge perk of being a set teacher is that if you're not tied down to a class, like any teacher listening right now know that there's a lot of responsibility and extra work that comes with having your own class, right?
Yeah, on top of just planning for the afternoon.
Yeah. So it's not just planning and teaching in the afternoon, is it? There is a lot of other stuff. Parents' evening for a start.
Healthcare plans you've got to write.
Yeah, all of those jobs are kind of lost.
Set teachers do parents' evening, though.
That's true. They do, but they might not do it at some schools, or they might not have. They're not going. It's not going to be their class.
No. But it tends to be afternoon enrichment, afternoon trips, things like that. There's pros and cons because I have no set teachers in our school. We have set teachers who do every morning. Yeah. We also have job share people who do days. Yeah. So there are pros and cons to both, and I do get that. And I wouldn't be reticent to say that set teachers do less. I don't think that's true necessarily.
No, sure.
Because I think the planning maths and English is much more of a job than planning the afternoon. So they're planning more.
Yeah. I agree. There's just perks to both. That's all I was trying to highlight, really. So I've got a question for you then. So thinking about just very much about you've been part-time for 2 years?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, is it?
Oh, no. You started halfway through.
You started in September, so you've done...
Yeah, I've been...
Has it been 2.5 years?
This is my third year, yeah.
Crikey, yeah. So you've done 2.5 years. Talk me through how you felt at the start and how you feel now about it. I don't know if that's going to be different or not, and kind of what happened if it is different about going, like the day one of going part-time. How did you feel?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because... again, do you know we always talk about how if you get out the classroom, every year that goes by, you kind of become more removed from what it's like being in the classroom.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that this is happening to me with being a full-time teacher. So, I talk about burnout, I talk about things like that. I am, every year that goes past, I'm another year away from actually experiencing what it's like to work all week in a school, because it is insane in terms of mental load. So for me, going to do a job share, it honestly transformed looking back, my mental health, because it happened after COVID. And there was a lot of stuff going on in COVID, I think, that I kind of just suppressed a little bit. Like the whole idea, like the world felt like it was falling apart, was affecting everyone, obviously. And we talk about how, we got some time at home. Wasn't that nice? And we had our own house and we had a garden. So I know we were very lucky in terms of some people stuck in a flat, and it was incredibly tricky mental health wise.
Yeah.
So we had them benefits, but I definitely suppressed a lot of it. And a lot of my stuff came out in health anxiety around that time. I was really worried. I was really worried about my health. Like
constantly at the doctors, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like going to the doctors and getting stuff checked. And it wasn't even to do with COVID. It was like other stuff. And I'd be like, I've got a bit of a lump in here, and can you check that? And then I'd get the doctor to check it like 6 times, even though he's already checked it. It's already been scanned. He's like, it's fine. And we're years later now. And I definitely think that was linked to COVID. And I definitely think it was actually linked to, incredible stress in the job as well. And when I went part-time job share, it genuinely transformed my outlook and my day-to-day stuff. It didn't just change my work, it changed how I was at the weekend because I had more time. It impacted everything to do with my life. I was just happier straight away. And I would say that, kind of linked in with that is the fact you didn't go part-time as quickly as I did.
Yeah.
So obviously we were both hoping to go part-time so we could both spend time in the business. So we kind of stalled going full send on the business until we were both off.
Yeah. I was 2 terms behind Dylan for context. He went in September and I went in January.
Yeah.
So he was 2 terms without me.
Yeah. It was just because of like situations of job sharing and stuff like that, the people who were doing it with us. I was ready to go in September. So those from September to December, I think that was 2021. That was probably my favorite 3 months ever of life, because anyone who knows, I'd won Millionaire, I'd won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, so I had that financial stability, which was huge. And a massive thing that we're kind of not even brought up yet is that flexible working doesn't mean you earn less. Had that financial stability. I went and played golf on my Thursdays, knowing I was playing golf when I would have been really stressed trying to make sure everything's done and I don't have a break time and I can just get my lunch prepped because I've got to then go and do an afternoon lesson. I just went and played golf with my mate who was off, and I just chilled out, and that reset helped me massively.
Yeah, big time. We needed it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we'd spent the 3 years before that
not just working part-time. Not just working full-time.
Yeah. So I'm not exaggerating. Because I exaggerate a lot, so I'm trying not to exaggerate here. I'd say we spent the 3 years before that working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
For at least 90% of the weeks in a year.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because we did our full-time job, obviously, and then we run the business on the weekends and evenings.
We treat half terms like, finally, time for business.
Yeah. It was crazy. And we were just burning out because it's just mad. I agree, by the way. I had the same sort of experience at the start. It was just like pure euphoria, where I was like, I can't believe I'm not at school. It felt naughty, didn't it? Do you remember? We felt like we couldn't go out because people might see us. And it was like, then I question why we're not at school.
Yeah.
But we started things like a Wednesday night beer. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did.
Because Wednesday night
after school
became our Friday.
Yeah,
we weren't at school, but we have to.
God, that went, didn't it?
That didn't last very long. But I won't come to me yet. But how do you feel the same now, or has it changed?
Yeah, it's changed massively. It becomes the new normal, doesn't it? And this is the worry about it. I still think I'm at a much better level than I ever was, right? So we peaked at like the euphoria of when we did it. It's never gone back to what it was beforehand, I think.
No.
And if you're at home thinking, God, I am so burnt out, and if you just do the maths and see what your impact would actually have on your salary, because dropping 2 days is 40% of the time you're in school. It doesn't translate to a 40% drop in what you earn just because of the tax.
It was around 25%.
Yeah, exactly.
Of your take-home pay.
Yeah, so just I know money's really tight at the minute, but just look at what you'd actually lose and see if there's ways that you can kind of make that money up. A lot of people could make that money up, or at least a chunk of it, through just doing a couple of hours of private tutoring, find 1 or 2 clients. Like you could make up a nice chunk of that money.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say to anyone listening now, going, well, of course these guys could do it. They're the business. I think it's very viable for a lot of people, and the mental health impact is insane, and it frees up your mind. And if you're thinking now, well, I can't tutor because I'm working full time and I'm getting so stressed out, that will transform with those days off, and you can use those days off at your leisure just to spend some hours, finding it. So I mean, it's different now because I look at the 3 days and I honestly think I'd be happy with 2 days now. Because the business is growing. We've got other stuff we want to do in the business, but also just like, I'd look at it and again, the drop, every time you drop, because you've got a tax-free allowance of about 12.5 grand. So you can earn that much before you're taxed. So every day you drop off, you're losing taxed income. That's why it's not as much of a drop. And not the untaxed income. So again, if you dropped 1 more day, that's a third drop in how much you're in school. But your pay would not go down by a third. Your pay might go down by 20%.
Again, about a quarter again. I think third to a quarter is actually a really good ratio in terms of dropping down.
Yeah.
And compared to your actual take-home pay drop, it's about a quarter, not a third.
So it's something to consider. But what I would say is it really, really worked for me, and I'll come back to you in a second, and I know it worked for you though. And I would say that if flexible working wasn't something that we could do as teachers, we'd be another one of the statistics. And at the end of the day, recruitment and retention is an insane problem. This kept us in the profession that we literally love. We moan a lot about it because we love it. And we want to teach forever, and I want it to be a really enticing profession. And there's only one reason I'm still doing it. And by the way, the only thing that's drawn me out of the teaching world as a teacher is our education business. We are passionate about education. So I don't know if it's something that can actually help fix this retention problem without doing too much extra funding, which just isn't going to happen. then I think it's necessary and it's a good thing. What about you? What's your thoughts?
I don't have too much more to add really, because I think we had a similar experience. I just want to really make it clear that once that honeymoon period was over of us going part-time, I did very much return to a similar state as before. Like you said, a new normal. The difference being I wasn't as physically and mentally drained anymore. That's the difference. But in terms of my happiness, and people often don't want to talk about happiness, or they feel like they have to pretend, I am happier now because of this thing. It's like, I am no happier than I was when we were full-time running a business, genuinely. I'm no happier, but I'm not as worn out. I think that's probably the way to put it. So I'm still glad I did it, but, the high did come back down, and now I'm at a new state of... And we've watched loads of
happiness is relative,
past.
Isn't it?
It is relative, completely relative.
Yeah.
You could not work at all and be exactly as happy as you are right now, or you could work... There are other factors. So I think it's important to keep that in mind when we have this next conversation about flexible working and how it's not an automatic fix, is it? That's kind of what they're saying.
No, but in terms of stress, in terms of burnout, in terms of exhaustion, that can link to happiness. Obviously, if you're not as stressed and not as burnt out, you're not going to be
absolutely. Less of the negative. I have less of the negative emotions. Let's put it that way. My baseline is still about the same. Yeah. But I don't feel as stressed and negative as as regularly as I was feeling.
Because there's something insane. I look back at my there was always the same point in the year when I was working full time when I would say to you, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to quit.
And it was basically the end of every big term.
Yeah.
So getting towards the end, towards Christmas, I was like, I can't do it. I'm so tired. Yeah. End of Easter, end of the summer, I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I have genuinely not had that feeling of I am exhausted. It's the end of the term. Oh my God. Complete exhaustion. Yeah. Obviously at the end of the term we get tired because we still work, we still work and still have a break in the half term now. But it's not been the same.
Well, being part-time has highlighted how stressful the job of teaching is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some people listen to this, and I know my mates will probably be like, oh, teaching, you got a really hard job, as if there's not other hard jobs. I get it. I'm never commenting on other jobs not being hard or hard. I'm just saying teaching is really tough.
Well, the Instagram comment section will think you will.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah. But having our 2 days at home where we work just as many hours as we would do in a teaching day, because we still need to put in the time, I don't feel 10% as knackered.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a Thursday or a Friday at the end of the day as I do on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday when I'm at school.
If that isn't to me proof that teaching's insane, I actually don't care what other people say anymore.
It is so exhausting.
Teaching is insane.
So exhausting.
And I'm actually at the point now where if someone honestly just has a run-of-the-mill office job, I'm not degrading your job whatsoever or saying it's not important or what you're doing is pointless.
Yeah.
What I am saying though is it is not remotely as tiring as teaching 32 children all day with the admin that goes around it. It just isn't. I'm sorry. It's more stressful.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're going to compare it to like a labour job of some sort, I don't know. Probably
different kind of exhaustion. Different kind of exhaustion.
I find actually the mental exhaustion more than the physical exhaustion.
Yeah,
is the one that gets me.
Exactly.
There is a bit of physical exhaustion.
But no, what I'm saying with labouring, that would be a physical exhaustion.
That'd be physical,
which is different to teaching, which is just an all-out mental exhaustion.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Weird one. Tricky job.
Yeah. So, in terms of flexible working in general, we literally live flexible working and we're huge advocates for it. I suppose what I want to talk about is the fact it's in the news at the minute as well. That's why I wanted to have this podcast. Is because
4-day working week.
Well, yeah, you've talked about that. You've said, the Green Party manifesto has come out. The Green Party, let's be clear, they're not going to get into power. But what these kind of fringe parties can do is just put stuff in the discourse. I suppose that's their role.
100%.
And the idea of 4-day working week's been around for a long time. There's been trials and stuff, and we've always talked about how education does just feel different. It does just feel different. So firstly, let's think about what's been in the news to do with education. Like, what could we actually do? Like, what might flexible working look like? And we talked about going part-time. That's the most obvious version of flexible working. But I've seen some other bits, and I'm gonna say them to you, and you're gonna tell me what you think straight away.
Sure.
I've seen a school in the UK who said every single Friday school finishes at 12:30.
I was going to mention this as well.
Yeah, so the school finishes at 12:30, go home, whatever, crack on.
Yeah.
You think that's a good idea or not?
I like the idea. I read that article and I read into a bit more detail. There were some quotes from some teachers that were like, "Oh, it's great because now I get the odd long weekend away now because I'll go away on the Friday, literally at like lunchtime, and go away Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back. And it's really, really nice for that." And I was like, "That's a cool idea." But then I read in the same article that and I don't know why I was surprised. Obviously, this is happening, but all they've done is condense all of those hours into the week.
Yeah,
it's the same amount of working hours. It's just that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are longer days.
That's what the 4-hour week is, by the way. 4-day week is.
Because I don't know. This is where I'm very naive.
A lot of it. Some of it's not. Some of it's the same amount of time, but some of it is 10-hour days for 4 days.
Okay.
Instead of 8-hour days for 5 days.
So that made me, and I don't know if this is rightful emotions or not, but I was a bit like, it's just a gimmick. Then it's the same amount of work. I'm just going to be just as tired. I'm just condensing it into different days. And then I thought, or would I? And actually, I don't know. So this is where I want to hear what your opinion is.
No, I thought it was really interesting because I read about it too, and I saw they made the days longer. Because I thought initially when I saw this, I thought they've just made Friday PPA, and like but no, the school literally closes.
Do you know what?
Them.
I basically worked in a school that did this, didn't I?
I
worked in a school once whose timetable was a free school.
So when you said you don't know how you'd feel,
it wasn't exactly like this. It was a bit different, but.
But okay, you've mentioned this before because you had basically finished. You started early every day and finished earlier every day.
Finished later.
Sorry. The school finished late, but you didn't.
Yeah. So the kids came in at 8:15.
Yeah.
And they finished at 4.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But I didn't on every day. So they did that Monday to Thursday. So from the kids' perspective, it was 8:15 till 4 Monday to Thursday, and on a Friday it was 8:15 until 3:15. It was a bit more of a normal day.
So it's not even shorter the last day.
No, for the kids. For the kids, it wasn't. But for the teachers, we had to do. So we had to do the Friday was normal. Everyone had to do the Friday as normal. But for the 4 days that were a bit weird, that went till 4:15, 4 o'clock, whatever it was, we had to do 8:15 until 2 o'clock on 2 of the days.
Yeah, but
and 8:15 until 4 o'clock on 2 of the days.
Right. So you're just talking about PPA.
Oh yeah, it was just PPA.
Yeah. So
I didn't get to finish earlier.
No. So this whole thing, the thing I was going to say here is, I thought it was just PPA on a Friday. But it's not.
Right.
This is the whole school week's condensed into 4.5 days, and then PPA is still within that. So it would still feel good. What I was going to say about this example here of like, flexible working, leaving early on a Friday, it's great, and it might work for a lot of people. It might be sound, and it might be a great idea, but it only works if the outer workload is also reduced. If the workload we have to do outside of the job is still just as much as in lots of schools where it's a problem, then all you're doing is just stretching out the day even more because the day's already longer as a teacher. Name one teacher who actually finishes at 3:15 when the school finished. Of course they don't. They finish at 5:15. So if you're making the day finish at 4:15, all you're actually doing to a teacher is making their day finish at 6:15
on those
days.
So
that's even more stressful. So if you're going to have these longer days as a teacher, that might work in an office when you go in early, leave early, but that's it. As a teacher, that doesn't necessarily work if you have these longer days because you're going to have to spend an hour prepping early in the morning, and you're going to have to stay later to do your marking and stuff. So I don't necessarily think this is the win that it looks like.
Better. I'd be interested to hear from people that I don't know if anyone listening has actually experienced that exact situation. I know it's only like a couple of schools have done it, but I don't know. My gut feeling is. It would be the exact same experience that we've had in the past, which is it would be a cool gimmick at first, and there'd be a bit of like whoa, and then it'd return, and you'd feel exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it's different to what we do though, because we literally drop 2 days of work.
No, I know, but I just meant the journey.
It might feel
this.
Good.
I reckon a lot of people are like, this is so much better, but give it a year. My gut feeling is you probably because you are doing the same amount of work in the week, you're probably going to feel.
You're just going to feel worse on the days when you're doing longer, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely knackered.
But at the end of the day, you can't argue with
at least someone's trying to do
a longer
something.
Weekend. That's kind of cool.
Another thing I saw was this would require more funding, I suppose, but a lot of schools give extra PPA already, and it was to make PPA for anyone who doesn't work in a school is planning, preparation, and assessment time. As a teacher, you get 10% of your teaching time in a week is given to you as time out of the classroom to prep stuff. We've done jokes before about how that doesn't remotely cover the time to prep, but so that what that translates to is half a day every week that teachers get out of the classroom. And something that I've seen battered around lately just to try and incentivize the job again a bit more, because hybrid working isn't something that's possible in schools, and we'll talk about that, but is to have a whole day of PPA. Just a whole day of PPA where your children are still in school. So from a children's point of view, it's still a full week of school, but their teacher is not in on Thursday, let's say, or Monday, or whatever it is. And that day, perhaps they have sports coaches in the morning, and they have specialist music teachers, or Spanish teachers, or drama, whatever it is in the afternoon, or even just normal curriculum covered by a higher level teaching assistant, whatever. That really interests me a lot more than the first one, because the first one's just like moving jigsaw pieces around. This one is actually putting some jigsaw pieces in the bin and not having to do it anymore.
I agree.
So this one to me really, really piques my interest. I don't know what you think about having a whole day PPA, and the big thing for me was the freedom to not have to come in on that day and do whatever you want to.
Well, let's unpick the two elements of that then. So first of all, I think a whole day PPA, even if you're in school, would have an enormous impact on workload reduction. I think it's a great idea. I think it's mental that we've got to 2024 and we still, the powers that be still think 10% of time out of teaching is enough to remotely get anything done that doesn't just impact teachers' free time in the weekends and evenings. Whole day, great idea. We should absolutely be pushing for that and fighting for that. Even better if you have that flexibility to go home on PPA. So let's just talk about that in general. What do you think about that in general? So even schools that just have normal PPA, do you think it should be widely accepted and normal to be able to just go home during PPA and do what you want in that time? Or do you think it should be something that's like, oh, you do what you want, but you got to stay in school? Because
I was going to ask you about this because it's something I've heard a lot of. Especially since COVID, because in COVID time, you wanted to spend as little time as possible in buildings with people. So it was policy for a lot of schools where
go home, get out of
you
it.
literally have to go home. It's not even, they're not even doing you a favor. It's just don't spend as little time in this building as possible. Go home because you're not teaching. I was going to ask you because my gut instinct is it's a really good idea to give the professional, which is, again, I think it's something we forget a lot of teaching. We are professionals. We are a profession. We've been highly trained to do this job. Yeah. And we are entrusted to plan and assess stuff mostly in our own time anyway. With that level of trust should come the level of trust to do that as and when we wish.
I know, yeah.
But what I was going to ask you is, so obviously yes to me is the answer. You should be able to take it wherever you want.
Yeah.
What do you think, though, about schools where, let's be honest right now, there are some teachers who maybe are falling behind in their work, aren't doing their planning. And, you know, we can talk about whether they should be planning at home or not, but the teachers who just need a bit more support aren't necessarily following the school ethos, let's say, of planning, or the school guidelines of how to do things correctly. Where do you stand on a school then, using that almost as like a, not, I guess, a punishment, but a genuine way, though, to say, well, we want to give you some support. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not talking toxicity right now, which we all know exists. I'm talking about school as like, okay, I want to give you some support. You've got some PPA time. I want to come and support you in this planning. I want to come and help you as your SLT. Yeah. I want to make you better. Yeah. And actually, you are underperforming. So it's part of my job to make sure it's making sure you're performing. What do you say to, like, would you then have to say to all your staff, okay, no one can go home anymore? Or would you have a 2-tier system where, okay, yeah, you're fine to go home, but you need to stay here because I'm helping you out?
Yeah, no, I am completely against that. I think the fundamental issue there is the idea that SLT could get involved with your PPA. That's it to me. I'm like, no, PPA it should be a protected time. I think a good manager needs to, if there's a problem that's out of the ordinary, then they need to do out of the ordinary things to solve it. They need to take them out of class in different times to do other things, to do various training, to do meetings, whatever. I don't think it should then be, and it is basically a punishment. It's everyone else gets this freedom of PPA, but you don't, because you're not doing your job good enough. So I'm going to take away the bit of freedom you have, and we're going to use that time to solve it. I think it should be, no, you're entitled to that, just like everybody else. It doesn't, that PPA isn't dependent on how good you're doing your job. I don't think it ever should be. And I don't think that, you know, it should be, there should be other processes involved. That's what good managers should do. So I've heard of schools doing that, and I do think it's toxic. I think even if they try to say it's not toxic, I've heard of schools that allow their teachers to do PPA at home, but haven't allowed some teachers to do PPA at home, or something along those lines. I've heard loads of schools that do that.
That doesn't sit right, does it?
It doesn't sit right at all, because I'm like, no, you're just, firstly, it's embarrassing.
2-tier system in school.
Yeah, 2-tier system is embarrassing. It's like a weird, you've now made PPA a meritocracy of some weird, so it's like as if they're not entitled to it already. And
they both get leader. PPA is what they might say.
Yeah, but you don't if you're staying in school because I need you here to do something.
Yeah, but they're planning like they would have been, just they're going to have support.
Yeah. Oh, I just think...
Can you get your foot off my chair?
I did that and I thought he's going to freak out as soon as I touch you. No, so in answer, absolutely not. It should never be done like that. I think everyone should be entitled to PPA, and I also think everybody should be entitled to have PPA at home or do it wherever they wish. And I don't think that should ever be questioned, genuinely. I don't think there's a single teacher that shouldn't have that privilege. Because like you said, on average, we do 20 hours. Teachers on average, and this is a stat, it was 20 hours, was it 18 hours?
It was between 10 and 20.
Okay, I think it was around 20 hours of overtime, free overtime, extra overtime a week on average for teachers. And if they are doing that to get their job done, what manager on this planet is going to be like, oh, if they take their PPA at home, they might not do their bloody work. They might not really do their work. They might only choose to do the 20 hours they were going to do anyway and not do the work they were going to do in that PPA time. Of course they're not.
Yeah,
Of course they're not. Do you know what? Even if they did go home and put their feet up, they're still going to do the work. They'll do it at the weekend when they do their other 5 million jobs. It's not going to not get done.
Yeah. And if it's not getting done, then step in and sort it out.
Yeah, you're a manager. Do your job at that point.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. I find it hilarious because I guess that moves really nicely into what I want to talk about in terms of hybrid working. So, what the government have done in the last few years, and again, we cannot turn our nose up at this because it's obviously a good thing, right? That they have raised the starting salary to £30,000.
Yeah.
They have decimated pay for a long time. Because that's the context. But at least they did bump up the starting salary a decent amount to at least try and catch up somehow. They did something. Cool. The bad news is it did nothing. So the recruitment numbers haven't improved.
Yep.
So it was something like 500 extra teachers when you take into account the people who left teaching and the people who trained to become a teacher. We've got 500 more teachers like this year, which is insanely low. We need way more. Okay.
Well, I remember the stat: 8.8% teachers left last year.
Yeah.
And that's not including retirement.
Yeah. So when you include the people who trained, we missed the training target.
Yeah.
And because we missed the training target, the net figure was like 500 more teachers. We need way more teachers. That was completely wrong. And a big reason that's being touted as to why this is happening is because teaching is kind of trapped in almost like the Victorian era, I suppose, but it's very much trapped pre-COVID. And I'm not necessarily sure it's teaching's fault, because I think teaching has some limitations as to whether hybrid working can even be introduced in the first place. So for a lot of professions now, if you're a young professional, the idea of having some kind of hybrid working model where you might go into the office 1 or 2 times a week where necessary, but you can crack on with your work at home, that's really appealing.
Yeah, and way more common.
Way more common now. And with teaching, you have just got to turn up and teach your lessons every day. There are children who come in because, like it or not, a chunk of our job is childcare, so people can go to work and society can function. So, it's not even a bad thing. Of course, we need the children in school. But the other part is that, teaching is for face-to-face purposes. That's how we do it. We go in and we help children. We can do boosters and stuff online. We can help children online. But the hybrid model doesn't really work with teaching. So I guess my point here is, how can we have flexible working? How can we approach this, but even when hybrid working is something that can't happen? And the biggest kind of elephant in the room right now is we already do hybrid working as teachers. It wouldn't work in terms of the full-time job we actually have. Everyone's like, you can't do hybrid teaching because you've got to be in school for your job. It's like, that's weird because I do 20 hours of work a week at home.
Yeah.
So I could do work at home as a hybrid teacher. So teaching is already hybrid when you do a full-time job because you're doing lots of work in your own time in evenings and weekend. How can we make this hybrid job an actual hybrid job, or is it impossible? What do you think?
I don't know. If there's probably some wacky way that you could do it that I haven't thought of, but maybe just recognition of it.
What do you mean?
For a start, like the fact that you're saying it already is hybrid, but
claps every Wednesday.
Claps every
well
Wednesday.
done, well done, teachers. Thank you for doing the work.
Maybe recognition that by putting it into the job spec, maybe that you do work at home in this time. It's hybrid working. You do these things at home, but you get paid for it.
Yeah, but that's funding, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So no.
So how do we do it?
I don't know if we can. Yeah. Have you got any ideas?
No, not really. I think it's impossible. I think we need to be in the room for childcare. Society needs to function. People are like, oh, teachers, we're not child carers. Well, we are.
I tell you what,
we are though, aren't we? Part
I've got an idea.
Part of our job.
I've got an idea. When we were at Centre Parks, we went to a restaurant, and do you remember how we were served our food in the Mexican place? Little robot came over. Genuinely, just by itself came over with all of our food on it. And then someone else came over and gave us our plates. So it was a bit of a gimmick. But a robot came over.
Looking forward to how this is going to turn out.
I'm thinking, invest in robots.
Okay.
With the funding we don't have.
Right.
I will record I'll just sit at home.
Okay.
My
people are
voice
turning
comes
off right
through,
now. Yeah, go on.
And on the screen, pre-recorded lessons, robot goes around, does my job.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I think that's the most insane thing you've ever said. People are still listening.
Wouldn't work.
Thank you. Wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the point I wanted to highlight with that kind of hypothetical there is that we already have a hybrid job.
Yeah.
It's just that it's 1.5
If you look
jobs.
online, though, everyone's like, oh, AI will be teaching your kids in no time. It'll be robots before we know it.
Well, I think...
I don't know. I don't think it will.
Give it 5 to 10 years. Our kids are going to have a transformational experience.
Yeah, AI is going to change the world.
Change the world. But yeah, in terms of flexible working, going back to it, I don't think hybrid's reasonable. I don't think that it could possibly work in schools, unless I don't know how this would work, but parents might have hybrid jobs and therefore be able to have their children at home certain days and they can do work. But I don't think it will work. I think the way forward for flexible working for teachers is to, like we said, longer PPA.
Yeah.
And then you can be flexible with that job, but the kids are still in school doing stuff. And even that timetable change at the very least is something that could happen.
Okay. Well, okay. All right then. In the real world then, here's how flexible work. Here's how I'm calling it flexible work. I don't know if it is really. Is doing what we've done. Doing job shares. Making job shares always, well, not always because some people don't want it, but making it more common that you can have job shares where you go in a certain amount of days and someone else, because there's a massive stigma.
But that's not flexible working though.
With them. It's not flexible working, it's just reducing your hours.
Because you get less pay.
I know.
Yeah.
But do you know what? At least in that scenario, if, for example, when we wanted to go part-time, when we were offered doing the mornings or 5 days a week and doing the 3 days a week instead, to me, I'm like, well, the 3 days, it feels more flexible to do the 3 days a week. So I'm like, well, I get 2 days back rather than doing 5 days at work still. So at least in that scenario, there was a bit of a choice there. And I know that doing job share in days is quite frowned upon. A lot of schools won't do it. They actually have a blanket rule of like, we don't take job shares.
Yeah, I'm really interested to know how many people listening, their school just have a blanket no. Because I think even our school at some point, they were just like, don't like them.
They didn't want to. They were reluctant.
Don't like them.
Yeah.
Don't like them at all. There is that stigma there with flexible working. That needs to change. That has to change in teaching and education. I'm not even going to pretend that there aren't pros and cons. And when you say there are cons to a job share, as a leader, you'd be like, okay, well, don't do it then.
Yeah.
But I think the pros mean we have to make it work. We have to grow up. We have to have a grown-up conversation about it. If you just have a blanket no when your staff come to you and say, what about flexible working? A blanket no, cool, your staff's going to burn out, you're going to lose them. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Is that what you want?
That is it sounds very like up yourself, doesn't it?
No, it sounds like
at
you're
the end of the
protecting
day,
yourself.
they would have lost 2 members of staff. They
Yeah.
would have lost me and you
Yeah.
at that point. So the pro was they kept members of staff that have worked here for years, know the school, and are bloody good.
We didn't do a podcast at that point. I wonder if they regret it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think flexible working. I can't think of a way comparably with other jobs that actually have flexible working where you get to work home.
I think it has to be built into things that already exist.
Yeah.
I don't think children can be spending less time in school.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people draw a line, and it's personally where I also draw the line.
Yeah.
If flexible working means that kids are learning from home 1 day a week and it's forced, I think that's bad. I think there should be provision where children go in, because we see now, for example, Labour in their manifesto have said about how they're going to have breakfast club places that are free.
Yeah.
So if anything, we're expanding provision for children in school, and that's going to get hopefully working people back at work and childcare and things like that. So I understand all of that.
Yeah.
I think it has to be built in where more bodies perhaps are in school, but for less time each.
Yeah.
And the big one for me is PPA all day.
Yeah,
because
PPA
that doesn't affect the money you're getting, right? It would be, of sure, it would cost some money, obviously, to get cover for those mornings and stuff. But when we're talking about a comparative to, any other option where children aren't in school or ploughing us with money, I think this is a cheaper option.
I've got an idea born from this, but and it is very, very similar. So I'm not going to claim as if I've got this crazy new idea. But let's
job
say,
share.
No. But and this does come with a bit of funding, so I get that it may be less realistic immediately because there's no money. But thinking about that PPA from home idea, let's say a school was like, we just can't give you a whole day of PPA.
Yep.
However, you're going to get your normal amount of PPA, which is half a day, and you can still spend the rest of the day at home. This is part of our flexible working policy.
What, from like lunch?
Yeah, it's not PPA, but you're at home, you do what you want. So in that time, you can do what you want. You can work if you want to.
What do you mean it's not PPA?
I suppose it is the same thing actually.
Yeah, what are you on about?
PPA is just work. Okay, but I'm imagining the idea of funding specialists to come in to make a flexible working calendar.
What? So you have PPA, but you choose when you take it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I guess so. I at the beginning of me talking, I forgot that PPA basically is flexible working. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, PPA is just doing the job, but it's non-contact time to do the rest of your job.
Yeah, but there is a reality, I think, with a little bit of money where it's just completely normal that people get, like you said, they can choose their days, or maybe it is a set day or something where they can just be at home, maybe even more than one day.
You just invented PPA. Wow.
I know.
You're about 20 years behind.
But shut up. I don't see why they. I've
got this idea, right, where teachers, they get an afternoon every week. They get one afternoon, I think. One afternoon should be enough to do all the work they do outside of school. What do you think about that? Exactly.
I think that's great.
Get specialists in, PPE, something like that.
Okay, so flexible working can work then, can't it? It is just having a day off, and we'll call it PPA. It's fine.
Yeah, it should just be more. There needs to be more of it.
Yeah.
So flexible working in that respect of this isn't really even flexible working. It's just making the job more manageable. But you can be flexible with that day because do you know what? If you want to spend that day morning in the spa and in the afternoon go shopping and do your work in the evening, that is flexible then. Because you know you've been given that day back.
Sure.
You can if you need to take that time. Lots of schools do every time. You just get a me day. You get a personal day. You just book it in. There's no expectation. It's on top of everything you already do. You just get a day every term, and you might use that day to do your planning for next term and not have to think about it at the weekends.
Yeah.
That's your choice. Brilliant. You might use that day to go and see your family. You might put that day on a Monday, have a long weekend somewhere.
Because actually, there's an important distinction that you kind of made there, which is that with flexible working, if you're still expected to be on the job at home, like you're still expected to answer emails and stuff, that's different to complete flexibility of you do whatever you want with this day, just get the work done whenever you want.
I think that's exactly the same.
It's not.
Yeah, because you still get the work done.
No, but if I'm expected to answer emails at home, then I've got to be doing it at that time. It's flexible in terms of I'm not in the office, I'm working from home. But I know people that do flexible work, and when they're on their days at home,
on their computers,
they have to still prove that they're working. They've got to respond to emails.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Whereas if it was like,
because teaching's already flexible.
In
that respect,
so
isn't
it's
it?
sort of like if
you can do your extra unpaid work whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. But if I had PPA at home and the school's thing was, but you are doing PPA at home, and so we do expect you. If we've got some correspondence with you, we do expect you to answer your emails because you're working. That's different to go home and do the work whenever you want.
I think that's reasonable in a way, in terms of, you can still email stuff, correspondence, but then it just goes into that murky business of how much of your PPA is protected. Because if someone emailed you in PPA, right, and said, "Oh, can I grab you for 10 minutes?" We'd almost certainly just be like, "Yeah, of course, of course we would." But then, like, if you're at home, do they? Yeah, but no. Like, can you say no? Can you say it because it's your PPA time?
Jump on a call for 10 minutes. Well, I mean, I think the fundamental thing there is you probably should be able to say no in any situation anyway because it's your PPA time. They can't direct you. I don't know. It's a weird one.
I'd be interested to know, people listening, right, how much of their PPA is actually completely undirected or not. Because a lot of people, I remember when I started off my career, PPA would be like, "Cool, let's meet at the start of PPA, and then we can just crack on afterwards." And we still have that now. Like, but that's practical, and I don't mind it because that's part of me planning. That's part of my assessment. It's like I'm going to get together with my team, chat, but that is a meeting that's imposed on me. So there is that. I think that's what it has to be, that professional understanding.
I've heard of a lot of schools, I think this is quite normal, by the way, where PPA is directed in the sense that they have to go to a certain PPA room with their whole team so they can do their planning together. And so it's like, we're not directing it. We just expect all your planning to be done together. That's an expectation. And we just expect that you do PPA in this room. But we're not directing you what to do. You do what you want in that time. We just need all of your planning to get done together. And it's a weird thing. I know loads of schools that are like that.
And then you trap people sometimes. For example, I know you we have our staff meeting after your PPA.
Yeah.
So that has trapped you in a way. Like, in what I mean by that is you probably couldn't go home.
No.
Because you'd have to come back, and that would be insane.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because realistically, if it wasn't me, it'd be another year group doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not like I could say, just change my PPA day. It's like, well,
no. Works for you, selfish.
Yeah. I suppose you could just make sure all of the staff have PPA on any of the days except for this one day that we do staff meetings. No one has PPA on that day.
So, I guess, summary. Do you think an introduction of proper flexible working, let's say the discussion at least of the introduction of more PPA time, so the children stay in school, but the implementation of you absolutely can do what you want in your own PPA time, whether that's going home or not. And also, I would say the reduction of the stigma of job sharing. And if someone requests job sharing, you should absolutely go out of your way to try and make it work. And it's a lot easier now to apply for flexible working. If you're knocked back, you can apply again. It used to be you can only apply once, I think, in a year. Now you can apply twice. There are certain things that the school have to say no because they have to fill out certain criteria. So when you apply, you can go through the 8 criteria and say, it wouldn't affect the quality of my work because, it wouldn't affect the morale of the school because, it wouldn't affect the children because, like, there are 8 ways that schools can say no, and you can kind of... I filled out this form for my partner when we applied for her to go back, return to work with flexible and go part-time. So you can counteract all of them, do your research and apply. With all of that in mind, do you think that there is any way that simply going down this road of more job shares, more part-time for people who want part-time, people who want full-time still having a bit of flexibility with as and when they take their time. Do you think this will actually fix the problems that we have in teaching?
I think it will massively help. Fix it is a big word.
Yeah.
I think it will massively have a huge positive impact. Teachers are burning out. They're quitting. You can't argue with the data. The education sector is getting worse. It's getting underfunded. Everything is getting worse in education. We need to do something, and I think this would help keep teachers in the job.
We have to incentivize the job, don't we? It's as simple as that. Because if there's no incentive, it's weird. There is no incentive, and no one's training.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, no, that was a good chat. That was really interesting. And obviously we literally do part-time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a distinction I wasn't quite making at the start of, there are people who don't want to go part-time because they want their full wage.
Yeah, exactly. But they still want to have a
they want a bit of
work.
flexibility.
Yeah, I think the PPA thing is probably it. I think that's probably it. Whole day PPA. I think the school could have a little bit of leeway in terms of, I wouldn't be totally against them saying that for a portion of that day you need to at least be around for emails.
Yeah, if it's a whole day.
If they said, between 9 and 12, just make sure you're around at least to answer queries and things. I feel like I could get away with that. But then if if the rest of it was completely flexible, that'd be really cool. If the whole day was just completely flexible and it's like we just don't care what you do on that day as long as you get your job done, then that's cool as well. I think there's some scope there for like different variations of it. But the day off thing, it's got to be done, isn't it? It's got to happen. It's got to happen. If we want to keep teachers, we've got to do something. Clearly, upping the money didn't work.
Yeah,
the incentive at the start. It's like people look at 30 grand like, cool, yeah, but I'm still going to burn out. So I can burn out with 30 grand, or I can burn out with 27 grand. Like,
or I can leave and get a 40 grand job somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly, and actually have flexible working. So I don't know. Education's got to get with the times eventually, isn't it? The money's not getting there, so at least make the job better.
100%. And you know what? All of this is cool, and like we talked about the jigging around of the timetable, even if we're not going to change anything, just having longer days and then a short day on a Friday. All of this is genuinely completely pointless until we do actually sort out that workload problem.
Yeah.
Like you can do what you want. Like if that PPA comes with extra, you're expected to do more because you got a whole day out now. So you can do this, this,
so we
and
put
this,
this on top of what you were doing before.
No.
That day needs to come with your job hasn't changed. You've still got the same amount of jobs to do. You've just got an entire extra day now.
Because if the justification for SLT or whoever is in charge or the government or anything or Ofsted is we need to have these high standards. And we talked before how having high standards is really good. And we need to have really, we're going to work really well to get this amazing curriculum. It's like, cool. If you're going to keep them, cool. Don't budge them, but give me extra time to get there.
I'll tell you what will drop the high standards is when all your best teachers quit because they can go and get paid 50k for another job because they're really highly skilled. Yeah. That's when the standards will start dropping.
Yeah, exactly that. So,
which is what's happening.
Retain your good teachers. Incentivize us. We love teaching. We don't want to leave. We don't want to.
We love teaching.
When you put your notice in.
I've done it yesterday.
We haven't. I enjoyed that chat.
Yeah.
Should we finish up there?
Let's finish up there.
Oh, I can hear
River
your
is
child
screaming in the background.
Yeah,
so
can you hear her?
Let's go and sort that out.
Bye-bye, everyone. See you next time. Follow us on Instagram at Teach Sleep Repeat Podcast. See you then.